Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard here on the second day of May. Here it is Tuesday, and still a little chilly in Savannah. Right now we have 60 degrees.
Yeah, and so windy.
Yeah.
So windy.
I don't know where the wind is coming from, and I hope it sort of gets it out of its system as we are in the second day of hurricane preparedness week, because we do get them around here. We haven't had one. We had one touch us. The last couple that have come by, Brittany, have sort of brushed by, shall we say. Savannah hadn't had a direct hit in a long time, and I shudder to think what would happen if we do.
Yeah, we've been very lucky.
We have have indeed. We went for about 35 years where we didn't have one at all.
That's
so
amazing.
That was unbelievable. But your luck sooner or later runs out.
Yes, hopefully not this year.
Yeah, that's what we say. So
yes.
Hurricane season starts in next month. So, but Hurricane Preparedness Week, making you aware, just the fact that you need to be ready, you need to have emergency food supplies on hand, first aid kit, canned food, things that don't perish, and just in case, try to buy the canned food that has the pop-top lid in case you forget to bring a can opener. Those are things that are awfully hard to get into if you don't have a can opener. So try to get the ones with the pop-top lid, plenty of water. Don't forget the pets. Don't forget your medicines. That make sure that you have an extra supply, and usually pharmacies will go along with something like that. Sometimes they don't. They're reluctant. And the other times, I lost my medicine last week and I need a new supply. I said, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing. People have abused it, and so now it's like
exactly.
You don't get to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So just be aware, and like I said, don't forget the pets. They are part of the family as well. I remember when we were doing when Matthew came through and everybody evacuated, or at least most everybody did. But I was standing back here, slaving over a hot microphone, risking my life to protect others.
Yes,
You're
yes,
welcome.
of course.
But I remember one couple called me. We're anxious to get back because our two dogs are at home. And I said,
you didn't
have
take
you
them
people
with you?
lost your minds? It's hard to find a place that isn't pet friendly anymore, but in an emergency situation, every place is pet friendly. So please don't forget the pets. And that's the truth.
100%. I have a 70-pound golden doodle, and I can't imagine leaving him anywhere.
Oh, absolutely not. I would.
Yeah, no.
I would box on both your houses.
Yes, he comes to the studio every day with me, so he's definitely a
right
little spoiled. Yes.
Right over there, guarding the door for us as we speak. Meanwhile, school situations that we're talking about. Our good friend Beth Mangione is at it again.
Yes, she is. She went to the budget meeting, and she was the only person that spoke at this budget meeting for the school board.
Here's what she had to say.
Good evening.
As we enter the budget creation and adoption process, it is exciting to observe many education stakeholders across Chatham County, from board members, the Literacy Task Force, parents, and taxpayers, aligning on the power of the science of reading as an avenue to improve the abysmal literacy proficiency scores of Savannah Chatham County schools. The science of reading includes explicit instruction of foundational reading skills led by phonemic awareness, which is the ability to identify and manipulate individual sounds called phonemes in words. Under the banner of the science of reading, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania schools turned its literacy proficiency around. In the fall of 2016, the district implemented the science of reading using the program called Language Essentials for Teachers of Reading and Spelling, referred to by the acronym LETRS, letters, a comprehensive program developed by two veteran literacy experts, Louisa Motes and Carol Tolman, both PhDs. The change was dramatic. By the following June, 88% of the district's kindergartners were reading at grade level, up from 46% when school started in September. That progress continued over the next several years. For the year 2019, Mississippi became a national leader in literacy because of the significant gains made by students. How, you ask? In the 2014-2015 school year, the state ensured all K through 3 teachers were trained in the science of reading by using the same early literacy training that was used by Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, LETRS, or letters. What is the common denominator in these two powerful case studies? Not just the science of reading, but more importantly, the intensive early literacy training program called Letters. Tonight, I want to conclude with a budget recommendation and a caution. The science of reading can be a broad term, and publishers, in the search of school system dollars, can use it loosely to make a sale. Beware of this bait and switch potential that leads with the new buzzword, the science of reading, but lacks the quality of the Letters program as an example. Budget ROI is based on quality first and price second. Both case studies I have cited realize the fact that it was teacher training first that is the #1 variable in increasing reading proficiency. I highly recommend the budget to reflect the inclusion of Letters training for all K through 3 teachers, regardless of the price tag. I look forward to the opportunity that Savannah-Chatham County Schools has to be added to the list of case studies where literacy proficiency can be our strength and not our weakness. Thank you.
She definitely knows what she's talking about. She used to be a reading resource teacher, helping children learn how to read that were behind. So she is definitely a rock star in this department. And, you know, I think that we've all been gaslit on a lot of this stuff, and we see them change the verbiage of things. And, you know, I think that it's really easy for them to make a program look really good, but really has no substance. So I think she brought up some good points, and I'm hoping that the school board does take her up on her suggestion.
Yeah, she really knows her stuff, and she presents it in such a professional manner. She's not up there, you know, hammering on the desk or anything of that nature. She's just saying, this is the program to look into. This is and then she shows this is a program that has actually shown results. The others have not. Except making things worse, and our kids are way behind in their reading skills, and I think that's something that the new school board president Roger Moss is concerned about. He has a lot of experience of working with kids and starting classical academies and things of that nature at private schools, and I think that he's going to get them on track on that in that department.
Well, I think the new law that was passed bringing back phonics to our schools is going to make a huge impact. Yes. This sight word business, when my friend first told me about it, I think her oldest kid is like 12, so it was probably like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. She was like, yeah, they have to do these sight words. I'm like, what do you mean sight words? What is this?
Yeah, I know.
So it's funny, traditional education worked, so why are we trying to like change it? I don't understand.
Don't fix what ain't broke, as the old saying goes. If you are familiar with the play The Music Man, one of my favorites of all time, this guy who was a charlatan trying to set up a boys band said, and he knew nothing about music, and he said, you know, how do you teach them? He said, oh, we don't go by reading music anymore. We go by the think system.
No.
You think the melody, and you start tooting on the horn, and you'll be able to play it, type thing. The think system, and you're like, and it didn't work. And so all of these programs that they have said that were working, and they said we're going to get rid of those because we think that there's something better, like the new math. Brittany, for several years, my wife and I were working with our granddaughters on doing their homework. We'd go over and visit them like on Wednesday night, and we'd help them with their homework, and one of them was math homework. And honest to God, I was like, and our son, their dad, is a math whiz. He took economics in college, and he has a degree in arithmetic, and he was trying to help him out. He said, you know, well, you plug this formula in, and and here's your answer. And our older daughter Olivia said, we can't use that. He said, why? Because we have to show our work. He said, this is a mathematical law. It works every time. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to know anything. This will get you the answer. No, we can't do that.
Well, the division.
You have to break it. Yeah, you have to break it down into different things. You know, and it was like, and so they went through about 4 steps that you could have done in 1 step.
Yep.
And then and I'm not, believe me, I have no PhD in math. That's for darn sure. But there was one of those word problems that I was looking at. Honest to God, I didn't know what they were asking for.
Well, so here's the other thing. It's like with parents learning, like I learned division with the brackets. I mean, I think most of us did.
Sure.
When they changed the way that they taught math, it made it impossible for a parent to help their child. And
I think that,
I mean, it makes you just think about it. Like, why would you want to change it in a way that makes it so parents can't help their kids? And so if you are helping them, you're teaching them a different way, and the teacher's saying, no, you can't do that. I mean, it just makes you wonder, do you want the kids to fail? So anyways,
and if you get the right answer,
does it matter?
What difference does it make? But that was amazing. He said, and he went to the teacher. She said, well, we can't. She was required by law to teach it that way. And he said, but you use this. This is a mathematical law. You plug this formula in, and you get the right answer every time. It's not every once in a while. It's every time. Well, things are not quite as bad here as it is in some of our schools, some of the other schools around the country. Had another very eloquent 12-year-old, or maybe he was 11.
He's 12.
He's 12. Taking a board, school board, to the woodshed, and here's a kid that's so eloquent, it's unbelievable. He ought to be president of the United States, because we certainly could use somebody that's eloquent there.
In the 7th, 10th grade at Nichols Middle School, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. I never thought that the shirt I wore to school on March 21st would lead me to speak with you today. On that Tuesday morning, I was taken out of gym class to sit down with 2 adults for what turned out to be a very uncomfortable talk. I was told that people were complaining about the words on my shirt, that my shirt was making some students feel unsafe. Yes, words on a shirt made people feel unsafe. They told me that I wasn't in trouble, but it sure felt like I was. I was told that I would need to remove my shirt before I could return to class. When I nicely told them that I didn't want to do that, they called my father. Thankfully, my dad supported my decisions and came to pick me up. What did my shirt say? 5 simple words. There are only 2 genders. Nothing harmful, nothing threatening, just a statement I believe to be a fact. I have been told that my shirt was targeting a protected class. Who is this protected class? Are their feelings more important than my rights? I don't complain when I see pride flags and diversity posters hung throughout the school. Do you know why? Because others have a right to their beliefs just as I do. Not one person, staff, or student told me that they were bothered by what I was wearing. Actually, just the opposite. Several kids told me that they supported my actions and that they wanted one too. I was told that the shirt was a disruption to learning. No one got up and stormed out of class. No one burst into tears. I'm sure I would have noticed if they had. I experienced disruptions to my learning every day. Kids acting out in class are a disruption, yet nothing is done. Why do the rules apply to one, yet not another? I feel like these adults were telling me that it wasn't okay for me to have an opposing view. Their arguments were weak, in my opinion. I didn't go to school that day to hurt feelings or cause trouble. I have learned a lot from this experience. I learned that a lot of other students share my view. I learned that adults don't always do the right thing or make the right decisions. I know that I have a right to wear a shirt with those 5 words. Even at 12 years old, I have my own political opinions, and I have a right to express those opinions. Even at school, this right is called the First Amendment to the Constitution. My hope in being here tonight is to bring the school committee's attention to this issue. I hope that you will speak up for the rest of us so we can express ourselves without being pulled out of class. Next time, it may not only be me. There might be more students that decide to speak out. Thank you for your time and good night.
God love him. What, do we have the kid's name? I'm running him for office.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. It shouldn't be controversial.
No, it shouldn't.
I mean, I don't understand how like he said, pride flags, BLM flags, all of this stuff. I saw a video of another student yesterday that was from last year, and they were upset that there were all these BLM flags in the school, but the school had put them up. Mm-hmm. And she was like, you guys told us that you weren't going to be political, you weren't going to do this, and these kids are just impressive. And I wish we had more adults that were standing up and being brave, because I've seen plenty of kids do this.
But imagine that kids feel threatened Yeah, we talk about school shootings all the time. They
Yeah.
feel threatened by a T-shirt. Okay. I saw some T-shirts when I was teaching at SCAD that I didn't like either, but I didn't ask the kids to take them off or anything of that nature. I wasn't going to cause any kind of a ruckus, but I was offended.
Well, you don't rise to the rate of being offended. You don't get to be offended.
That's true. Coming up, we're going to continue to celebrate youth today. There is hope for America. We're going to introduce you to a couple of 16-year-olds who are something else. Meanwhile,
We'll be right back.
yeah.
Hello, I am Bob Williams, current president of the Savannah Scottish Games. This is our 44th Savannah Scottish Games. We've been at Bethesda Academy for the last 15 or so years. Simultaneously, we have the Border Collie demonstrations herding sheep. We have children's activities. We have the Celtic dancers, the Highland dancers. We have the athletic field right in front of us here. And behind me we have the Celtic music entertainment tent. So we have over 50 clans represented here at today's games. This is the time for Scots to get together, share their cultural heritage. We have a genealogy tent so they can find out the history of their family name and how it connects to Scotland, along with a lot of the Scottish history. We have reenactors on site that demonstrate some of the activities that were taking place during the 18th and 19th centuries. As this country was getting settled and this role that Scots played during that.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
At Get Real America, we are focused on Savannah, but we'd like to hear from other communities as well. We have a lot in common. Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard here, and you just saw the advertisement of the Scottish Games. That's coming up on Saturday at Bethesda, and it's going to be lots and lots of fun. Looks like the weather's going to cooperate.
Yes, and if you haven't seen the sheepdogs, heard the sheep, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Border Collies are just incredible. Now they do, and of course they do warn people. When Walt Disney came out with the original 101 Dalmatians, the cartoon version,
Yes.
and then they did a human version or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That they didn't need to do, but nevertheless they did it anyway.
Live action.
But yeah, kids wanted Dalmatians. Adoption down for Dalmatians and demand for Dalmatians just went skyrocketing, and the problem with that is some dogs have a little different disposition. Dalmatians don't have a great disposition.
No, and I honestly do not see them hardly ever now.
My son had 2 of them. One of them was as friendly as could be. The other one, very standoffish, very shy. Didn't want anything to do with anybody practically.
They're very stubborn too.
Yeah,
very hard to train.
Extremely. Now the guy who runs the Border Collies says the same thing. He said, "Kids, I know you love this dog. They are as cute as they can be, but they require a lot of attention and a lot of exercise because that's what they're designed for. They're running around all the time, herding sheep, herding duck, whatever it is. But they need to be exercised on a daily basis. If you don't do that, you're not going to have a happy dog."
Yeah, they're made to work. I grew up with cattle, so we had blue heelers, and they're the same way. They need to run. They need to, and I mean, sometimes it wasn't even herding cattle. It was, we take him on the four-wheeler, and he would just run next to the four-wheeler. He just needed to be worked.
Just needed exercise.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, talking about kids and some of most of the media focuses on the bad kids. We like to focus on the good ones. We got a couple of dandies to show you, including one young man who's been accepted to over 170 colleges. He's gotten scholarships to the tune of $9 million. And he leads the pack this year, and an extremely impressive young man. And here's a story about him. We got two of them to show, two 16-year-olds to celebrate this morning. Here's the first. And we'll take a look. Like at number 10?
Two.
Yeah, two. There we go. Take a look at number 2.
Barnes, a student at the International High School of New Orleans. This star scholar has a 4.98 GPA, speaks fluent Espanol, and is on the track and basketball teams at school. So how does he do it all? Here he is with the answer to that question. So Malik, welcome, and how do you do it? I mean, are you good at time management?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
That's
So what's your
good.
secret? Are you Superman?
No, ma'am, I'm far from it. I give all glory and honor to God, definitely. I thank my parents that are always supporting me and encouraging me, and definitely Miss Denise James. That's my school counselor at International High School. She has done a good job at working with me. She's helping me out so much. Definitely, like you said, time management is a big factor in everything. I kind of try to get everything done in an orderly schedule while maintaining school, extracurriculars, doing my applications. So definitely, it is something that I have to be able to do.
Yeah, and you're a senior at 16. Again, your GPA, I'm going to say it again because, wow, it's 4.98. So why do you think you excel, Malik, in academics? I mean, is it your studying habits? Do things come easy to you? Do you work hard? What is it?
I think that those are all things that plays factors in my success. But one thing that I do definitely know for a fact is that I know I have dreams and aspirations that are long term, that's beyond right now in the next 10, 20 years. And those are all things that I want to accomplish, those dreams that I said. And I believe that right now is stepping stones to get where I want to be. So it's definitely a drive, a motivation to kind of push me to do what I have to do now so that whenever I graduate college and move on in life, I could be where I want to be.
I love that. So before graduating from high school, you've earned 27 college credits. How did you do that?
I am dual enrolled at Sunday University of New Orleans, and I've been able to take those courses since I've been at International High School. I've taken the majority of my core classes, the majority of classes I would have to take as a freshman. So my math, my science, social studies, English, and along with some electives, of course, I've taken intro to criminal justice. I'm currently doing evidence. So I have been able to rack up those credits, and I'm hoping that they can help me down the line.
I mean, unbelievable. So 130 offers and counting. So far, 170 acceptances. I hear you're going to make a decision by Tuesday. What will drive your final decision? I mean, what's important to you?
I want to go to a school that's going to set me up the best, of course, academically, financially. I want to go to a school that's going to pay me to go to school and, a full ride, of course. But not only that, dealing with meal plans, staying on campus, and a school that's going to give me a quality education where I'm comfortable.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That's a good reasons to make your final choice. I know you don't want to tell me, but are you leaning to something, one particular college at this point?
There's no specific school that I'm looking at the moment. Like I said, I'm kind of weighing my options out of all of the offers that I've received. But I do love New Orleans. I don't know if I'm going to stay here or not, but I do love this city. I know you're from here, right, too?
I am from New Orleans, too. Who dat, baby? NOLA till you die. We could keep rolling with that all day long. 504 for real. I'm from the Mighty 13. What about you?
I'm from the West Bank.
All right now. So let me ask you this. What advice, Malik, do you have to others who want to excel and attract scholarships?
One thing I'm gonna say is I know everybody not gonna be like me. Not everybody gonna have the same goals, dreams, aspirations. I would just want to say keep God in the midst, and whatever those dreams are that you do have, make it a priority, make it your determination, and make it your business to prioritize it and put it first. As a child, it could be easy to kind of get sidetracked to want to have fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just would want to say, makes your education a priority. It is definitely important. That's not for everybody, but whatever your dreams and aspirations are, just make it a priority and finish what you start.
And do you do something to have a little fun yourself?
Of course, I love to be around friends, family. I'm very social. I like to be around company. It doesn't matter where I go. I like to get out the house. But as long as I'm around other people, I definitely have a good time.
Mm-hmm. And now, when you get a snowball, what's your favorite flavor? I just need to know.
I'll be getting banana with that's stuffed with ice cream and with condensed milk on the top. I'll be liking it. Or I'll get a strawberry daiquiri.
Whoa. Dang. I mean, I just got a sugar rush just listening to that description. Listen, I mean, I'm especially proud of you. You said what now?
I said I stay with a sweet tooth.
Oh, okay. I stay with a salty tooth, if that's a thing. Listen, I am very, very, very proud of you for multiple reasons. Of course, because you're from New Orleans, but you represent the youth so well, and you give us all hope for people like you who will be leading our country and our nation and internationally. You're going to be on the international front. I know it. Malik Barnes, God bless you. Keep up the great work. Keep making us proud. Stay true to yourself.
Wow. So 170 colleges. I hope that he picks one that doesn't turn him into a communist. So let's keep our fingers crossed on that. Maybe he's going to Hillsdale.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, Bill, is that college isn't what everyone has made it out to be. I will say I went to college, and I don't think that it's helped me at all. I think that maybe it made me more conservative than I was going in, just because of how radical the program was, and I was in communications, and it was crazy. So hopefully he does pick a good school, and he has a good head on his shoulder. So hopefully he'll stay there.
Yeah, I went to Ole Miss when it was okay to wave the rebel flag when we're cheering for our team. We weren't racist, okay? But it's deteriorated a lot since then, unfortunately. So when they call me and ask me for money, and I say, well, let me see Colonel Rebel again, and so far they haven't answered that question, and they haven't gotten a check either. So there's that. Nevertheless, I can't believe how far down the road that the progressives have taken our school system, and I'm not sure that there's a cure for it other than to get rid of them and start over.
Yeah, well, I think that we should stop giving out. I don't know why the government got involved in the tuition for schools, but I don't think that. I think that there's I think that there's a lot of conflict of interest there, especially when they are giving big grants to a lot of these universities, and then they're also charging tuition, and the government's holding the loans. I don't know. It doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah, I like the kids. During the COVID thing, I said, well, if we're being shut down, why don't I get some of my fees back that I paid for concerts, I paid for meals, I paid for this, that, and the other. Where's the money? Interesting point. Did you notice the thing that he said before we go to break here, and we celebrate another 16-year-old coming up right after? My parents, plural. He has parents who are a man and a woman, and that's something you don't see in the communities of color these days.
Well, and obviously very involved and very encouraging, which makes a huge difference. I don't care how you look at it; it makes a difference in every child's life. It doesn't matter what color.
And what's the result? 170 colleges have accepted him so far, and he's got $9 million in scholarship offers.
When we get back, we're going to be seeing another 16-year-old calling out the Republicans, which I don't disagree. So we'll take a look when we get back.
When you meet this kid. At Get Real America, we want to make sure that the real story gets out, and you can help us as a sponsor or as an advertiser to make sure that word does get out to the community.
Be a sponsor and support your local community here at Get Real America.
Hello, I am Bob Williams, current president of the Savannah Scottish Games. This is our 44th Savannah Scottish Games. We've been at Bethesda Academy for the last 15 or so years. Simultaneously, we have the Border Collie demonstrations herding sheep. We have children's activities. We have the Celtic dancers, the Highland dancers. We have the athletic field right in front of us here. And behind me, we have the Celtic music entertainment tent. So we have over 50 clans represented here at today's games. This is the time for Scots to get together, share their cultural heritage. We have a genealogy tent so they can find out the history of their family name and how it connects to Scotland, along with a lot of the Scottish history. We have reenactors on site that demonstrate some of the activities that were taking place during the 18th and 19th centuries. As this country was getting settled and this role that Scots played during that.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was, and that they had come to us because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
You know, it helps when you have when you live in a state that we appreciate that actually has a state budget, that actually has a cap on spending. And Georgia and South Carolina are 2 of them. Brian Kemp, our governor of Georgia, is about to sign legislation into law yesterday for a tax refund, shall we say. Georgia taxpayers are going to be getting about, if you're a single filer, you're going to get about $250 back, and if you're receiving a maximum refund head of household, getting about $375. If you file jointly, maybe a $500 refund thanks to the surplus and being fiscally responsible. Thank you very much. So look forward to as the old saying goes, checks in the mail. That ain't a farce. Coming up next, once again, we like to talk about the good kids. I was so impressed. Huh?
And our friend Mary McCann Hydrator brought up a great point on our last 6-year-old that has all those scholarships. That he said, I keep God at the center of everything. I think that also keeps people very humble and also very focused. So I think that's a great point.
Well, so does this young man who started something called the Truth Gazette when he was 11. And I was looking at some of the pictures.
Can we say overachiever?
Yeah, I was looking at some of the pictures that he had on the Truth Gazette website yesterday when I found out about him. And he's got it's people like this that make me realize how little I've accomplished. Not only with the Truth Gazette, but he has a podcast and everything else. He's now only 16 years old. He was on Fox and Friends first on yesterday morning, and I was so impressed with this young man. I just had to introduce you to him and let you see what he's doing, and let you know that there is hope for America because of this kid who said Gen Z has got to get involved with the Republican Party if we want to save America.
16-year-old conservative is sending a warning to Republicans in a new op-ed saying they need to win over Gen Z voters now or risk getting left in the dust. This comes as nearly half of all voters will be classified as Gen Z or millennial by 2024. Brylan Hollyhan wrote that op-ed, and he joins me now. Brylan, thanks for getting up with us this morning. You know, you said you've got a message for the GOP. What do you want Republicans to know?
Absolutely, Ashley. Good morning. Happy Monday. Thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be here. You know, back in January, I wrote this article titled "The GOP Must Address the Elephant in the Room." Gen Z, that's me. I'm Gen Z. I'm 16 years old. And I went on a network the day after I wrote the article, and I said, you know, look, the Republican Party is an endangered species at risk of extinction if they don't start involving my generation heading into 2024. And oh my gosh, Ashley, I got lit up on Twitter. They said, Brian, you're fear-mongering. You're fear-mongering. But actually, it's not fear-mongering when it's reality. This is the reality for the Republican Party. We have to wake up. We have to start involving my generation and focusing on winning over the youth vote if we want a shot at winning in 2024.
So what do you think that involves? I mean, what do you think they need to be doing? Because 77% of Gen Z voters went for Democratic candidates in the 2022 midterm. So what do they need to be focusing on?
Yes, Ashley. So we have to be going where youth voters are. We have to be reaching youth voters where they are, and that is online. I think what the RNC is doing with the first debate in August is absolutely incredible. It's historic. You know, in August, when the first Republican primary debate happens, that will be broadcasting on the Fox News channel. It will also be simultaneously streaming on Rumble, a free speech YouTube alternative, where my generation already is. That's where, you know, all these people that have been banned from YouTube, that's where they go watch, and that's where they watch their favorite, you know, video game streamers. So that my generation is already on Rumble. They're using this platform. So you've got people that might not be interested in politics, they might be my age and might not be as interested as I am. And they might watch this debate when they might not just watch it on a normal, a network. So I think this is a historic opportunity and a great move by the RNC.
You know, that brings me to my next question, Brylan. You talk about social media and being online. Do you think that by the Republicans trying to ban and push a ban for TikTok is a bad move, even though it has connections to China?
You know, I think TikTok's an interesting issue. I think we look at the security risks, but I also think that we realize that there's a lot of people on there. So I'm not necessarily saying that the RNC needs to be on TikTok, but I've been on TikTok for a few years. I do think there are security risks with it, but I think that if we're not on there, then it's just going to be the Democrats. It's just going to be the liberals feeding propaganda to my generation. So if there's not an alternative opposing voice, then we've got to have something on there.
Right. And then I do just want to point out that you are going to be with the RNC Youth Advisory Council, and you're going to be rolling that out this summer. It seems like, Brylan, you have a very bright future ahead of you. 16 years old. Can't wait to see what you do in the future. Brylan Hollyhan, thank you so much.
Ashley, thanks for having me. We're really excited about this youth council. I reached out to the chairwoman in January, and we'll be rolling this out in the next few weeks. You know, as a young voter, as a first-time voter in 2024, this is an incredible opportunity to give my generation a seat at the table, and we're looking forward to launching this.
It is. All right. Thanks so much for your time. Have a good day.
Talk about the All-American boy.
Yeah.
Did you see his room?
Yes, I'm
An
jealous,
American
actually.
flag, a Betsy Ross flag, the Don't Tread on Me flag, the Police Appreciation flag, a George Washington portrait. I mean, golly, this kid is amazing, and started the Truth Gazette when he was 11. I was looking at the pictures yesterday, and he was talking with Ashley Strohmeyer there from Fox and Friends First, and he has a picture with President Trump, Vice President Pence, Ben Carson, Mike Pompeo. Go down the list, and there's hardly anybody he doesn't have a picture with who is a real American. It is unbelievable, this kid's connections. 16, and a fountain of eloquence.
Yes, and I will say, the RNC does not do a lot of things right. I'm
Mhm.
glad that they have recruited this person to participate. However, the RNC needs to get with it, and they need to get busy. I am not impressed with Ronna McDaniel, and I'm very sad that she is still the head of the RNC, and I will not be giving any money to them, but I'm glad to see that they're focused on the youth.
You talked about Malik, about his depending on God, putting God at the center. One of the quotes that is on Bryland's website is Timothy, is 1 Timothy and 4:12, which says, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." And yeah, I had to look it up.
I love it.
But that's it. So once again, a faith and God at the center of these kids' learning and understanding and their upbringing. It is really, really amazing, and the truth is in the pudding.
Yep. Well,
Proof
and
is
also
in the pudding.
family, right?
Yeah,
I think
family. Exactly.
I'm sure that if his family did not support him, he would not have all those pictures with all of those very high up political people.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you have a particular handicap, you're born with something genetic of some sort, and you're through no fault of your own, and sometimes you're left out on things like if you're blind, for example, you get left out on sports. Sometimes that's not the case with something called goal ball. I know you probably haven't heard of it, but it is an amazing sport. This is the sport that they said the most fun sport that you've never heard of. And we had a big tournament here in Savannah. We started a goal ball organization here just a couple of years ago, and it has grown in popularity like crazy. We had our first regional tournament with teams from South Carolina, Florida, and Georgia participating. This is at St. Peter the Apostle Church, beautiful gym that they have here on Wilmington Island. And the kids stand in front of what looks like a big, an expanded soccer goal, and they roll this ball. It's about the size of a little bigger than a soccer ball, a little smaller than a basketball, right in there between. And there is a bell inside the ball, so these kids can hear it coming and get it and get its location. They stop it there, then they come back and they roll it down the court to the opposing team. And this is this is amazing. Now, this is for sight impaired or actually blind kids, but in this case, sighted kids can play as well, because if you notice, everybody's wearing goggles. The blind ones wear goggles, and if you're a sighted kid, you have to wear the goggles. And the only people not wearing goggles, of course, are the officials. And of course, officials have been accused of wearing goggles. Having been a basketball referee, had my family heritage. There's a goal. A question on numerous occasions, but nevertheless, these kids are having a ball, and Brittany, the thing that they're looking for is just to have a good time, just to be able to play and to have something to do. This is a Paralympic sport. It is the only Paralympic sport that was specifically designed for blind people. There's no other Paralympic sport that wasn't taken from another, wasn't adapted. This was actually invented for that very purpose. And it's been around since 1946, believe it or not, Ripley.
Oh, wow.
It was invented by a doctor in Austria, right after World War II, for patients that he had who were had been blinded in the war, in World War II. So it started then, and it's finally come to Georgia. We have an association here in Georgia. We've just started a team here in Savannah, and one of the young men who is on that team is Matthew Gavin. And Matthew told us how much he likes about this.
Matthew, getting ready for a big game. This is something good for Savannah, isn't it?
Yes, it's great because it's great because we haven't played any games yet, so this will actually be the first game that our team has played.
Yeah. How'd you get involved in this?
Well, there was a clinic last year in, what was it, May?
Mm-hmm.
June? May or June?
Yep. Just say there's a clinic in June.
There's a clinic in June that was hosted by the men's Paralympic coach, who's also the Florida coach, and the Atlanta coach. And my mom heard about it, so she took me down, and I tried it, and I loved it. So.
Yeah.
And then after that, I practiced with Atlanta about 5 or 6 times, and then went to nationals with them.
Oh, fantastic. Did you catch on right away?
Yeah, it was pretty. I pretty much loved it the second I started playing.
Yeah. Had you played anything else before? Was there any other kind of thing you got involved with?
Well, I had tried football, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu, and I liked those sports. But they weren't. But there was always something like limiting me or making me not as effective as other players.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it's the sport for people who are visually impaired and blind. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I understand that you're sort of a coach too, are you not?
I'm more of a team captain or an assistant coach.
Yeah. Well, what's the ultimate in this sport? What do you plan to go to, like the Paralympics, things like that, or what?
Hope maybe one day.
Okay.
But currently my only goal is to just get through this tournament, then get through the next one, the next one.
Well, fantastic. Well, we're proud of you. Congratulations.
What do you love so much about it?
Yeah. What's the best part about it?
I just love the team aspect of it, and I love the communication and the whole, and I really just love every part of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing I don't like.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you play, and congratulations. Nice
Thank
talking
you.
with you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matthew.
All right, Matthew Gavin, and his the thing is that Brittany, they love participating. Doesn't matter what the score is. And by the way, there's a 10 goal rule, so you get 10 goals ahead and the game's over.
Okay.
But they just, in fact, one of the Atlanta team came down with only 2 players. You have to have 3, and one of the Savannah players swapped over and played on the Atlanta team so they could participate.
I love it. Well, and I also think that this is so good for kids, even if, I mean, it's good for them to play sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that this is also, it heightens your senses. Even if you're, able to see and you play this game, I'm sure it changes your outlook.
Yeah, Matthew was born with a sight. He could see a little bit when he was born. That's why he could play football and things. But since it's deteriorated to the point where he is totally blind now, but doesn't bother him a bit. And we're going to introduce you to some more of those players and the coaches and all in the days to come. Meanwhile, coming up next,
Richard Nixon, he's our president today, and one of the most interesting ones in my opinion.
Yep, and where did you find out about this?
Hello, I am Bob Williams, current president of the Savannah Scottish Games. This is our 44th Savannah Scottish Games. We've been at Bethesda Academy for the last 15 or so years. Simultaneously, we have the Border Collie demonstrations herding sheep. We have children's activities. We have the Celtic dancers, the Highland dancers. We have the athletic field right in front of us here. And behind me, we have the Celtic music entertainment tent. So we have over 50 clans represented here at today's games. This is the time for Scots to get together, share their cultural heritage. We have a genealogy tent so they can find out the history of their family name and how it connects to Scotland, along with a lot of the Scottish history. We have reenactors on site that demonstrate some of the activities that were taking place during the 18th and 19th centuries as this country was getting settled and this role that Scots played during that.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Savannah, I'm coming Savannah.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potato's Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard. Here it is, Tuesday.
Yes.
2nd day of May. And 2nd day of the Hurricane Preparedness Week. So just be ready.
Yes, and we're in graduation season. So
yeah, for sure.
Good luck to all you seniors that are graduating this month, which is very exciting.
Yeah, a little later this month, we're going up to Charlotte to see our grandkids graduate. So we're really excited about that and looking forward to it. And see Natalie, our one of the twins, is going to be going off to. She's found a Christian school in San Diego that she really likes, and she's gotten a scholarship for that, and we're really proud of her.
San Diego's beautiful.
It is.
California, not so much.
Yeah. But San Diego is, I mean, the climate is unbelievable. They air condition the streets or something.
Yes,
I
yes,
don't
yes.
know what it is.
San Diego's perfect.
It's amazing. As I've told them many times, I was out at been there a couple of times for conventions, and went out to the zoo, and their zoo is one of the best in the world, and the humidity that day had skyrocketed to 20%, and they were dying. I said, "Oh, please!
This feels nice. Yeah.
This is paradise." So let me
Yes.
bring it back to Savannah with industrial strength humidity.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we've been doing a series from Prager University on our past presidents, and they have been extremely impressive. And there's not a thing on here that I think most people don't learn, at least some little snippet about these presidents, some of the things they did that were really not, that you didn't learn in the history books because they can only do a thumbnail sketch at best. And we don't even scratch the surface, basically. And I think we ought to be doing more in our schools in a deep dive into our presidents and just how special they were and some of the things that they did, even though they don't have a good reputation years later, like, Richard Nixon.
And I will tell you, Richard Nixon, I did president reports on him. I always was fascinated with Nixon, and he was a visionary and also great at execution, which I don't think you find a lot in our presidents. So.
Exactly. Yeah, he was all American, and you'll find out why.
Name this president. He created the Environmental Protection Agency and put real teeth in the Clean Air Act. Environmentalists called him the most environmentally conscious national figure since Teddy Roosevelt. He was admired, sometimes revered, by civil rights leaders including Martin Luther King and Jackie Robinson. He desegregated Southern schools and vigorously enforced civil rights laws, often against his own political interests. His grasp of foreign affairs was acknowledged by both friend and foe to be unmatched. He opened U.S. relations with Communist China, signed the first nuclear disarmament agreement in history, and ended the Vietnam War. When the peace accords were signed, it was clear that America was the victor in the conflict. Did you guess our 37th president, Richard Nixon? If not, don't feel bad. Most people only know one thing about him, that he resigned from office following the Watergate scandal. Looking back, his offense, covering up for overzealous subordinates who were caught trying to steal campaign secrets from the Democrats, almost seems quaint. But at the time, it roiled the nation. Had he accepted responsibility, apologized early on, he almost certainly would have survived. Sadly, he never considered the idea. When he felt cornered, his first reaction was to counterattack, not apologize. Nixon was first and always a fighter. Everything he ever achieved, he had to fight for. He was born on January 9, 1913, in Yorba Linda, California, in a small house his father built from a mail order kit. Yorba Linda is now a bustling suburb of Los Angeles, but then it was basically a lemon grove with a road running through it. He grew up with no advantages. If he wanted to escape, he read. He read a lot. It's part of the Nixon legend that he attended a local college, Whittier. What isn't well known is that he was accepted to Harvard. He didn't attend only because his parents couldn't afford to send him there. After volunteering for service in the Navy in the South Pacific during World War II, he returned home. A small-town law career, not politics, looked to be his future. Then fate took a hand. The local Republican Party was searching for a fresh face to oppose a popular Democrat congressman. Nixon passed the audition. Nobody expected him to win, but nobody expected him to campaign as hard and as effectively as he did. He quickly became a fast-rising political star, achieving national attention when he almost single-handedly exposed a major State Department official, Alger Hiss, as a Soviet spy. Hiss was everything Nixon was not: sleek, urbane, Ivy League educated. He was well-known and well-loved among the East Coast intellectual and media elite. No one in Hiss's social set believed the charges against him, until Nixon forced them to. The liberal elites never forgave him for that, or for beating the glamorous and very progressive Hollywood actress Helen Gahagan Douglas in the 1950 California Senate race. In 1952, Dwight Eisenhower tapped him to be his running mate. In just 6 years, Nixon rose from a small-town lawyer to Vice President of the United States. He was only 39. Ike sent his vice president on important diplomatic missions all over the globe. It was on these missions that Nixon developed his mastery of international affairs. After a heartbreaking loss to John F. Kennedy in the presidential election of 1960, one of the closest and most disputed elections of the modern era, Nixon returned to California. There he lost another election, an ill-advised run for governor in 1962. He should have been done as a politician. He wasn't. In one of the most unlikely comebacks in American political history, Nixon won the Republican nomination for president in 1968 and then defeated incumbent Vice President Hubert Humphrey in the general election. Few presidents have ever walked into a more difficult situation. The country was in turmoil. Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King had both been assassinated within the year, just weeks apart. The Vietnam War was raging. Student unrest was out of control, and the economy was floundering. Nixon expertly navigated the turbulent political waters, steering a centrist course, just what his devoted supporters, the people he called the silent majority, wanted him to do. What he believed in, a sense of duty, common decency, hard work, the inherent greatness of America, they believed in. The press never liked Nixon, but the majority of the American people loved him. He was reelected in 1972 in one of the biggest landslides in American history, winning 49 of the 50 states. He ended the military draft, brought the Vietnam War to a close in early 1973, and later that year, he saved Israel by airlifting military supplies during the so-called Yom Kippur War. And then came Watergate. Now you know why Richard Nixon, truly Shakespearean in both his attributes and his flaws, may be America's most misunderstood and underappreciated president. I'm Hugh Hewitt for Prager University. Thank you for watching this video. To keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.
Richard Nixon was 100% American. He was the first one to realize that Fidel Castro was a communist, because we had celebrated Castro taking over from what they thought was this evil dictator down in Cuba, Batista, and overthrowing him. And at the time, Cuba had the strongest economy in the world, and we gave Castro a ticker tape parade in New York City, and Nixon was the first one to realize this guy is the wolf in sheep's clothing. And also that Alger Hiss situation, you need to go back and read. Alger Hiss was one of FDR's top lieutenants, and he was warned, FDR was warned on numerous occasions that Hiss was a spy, and he kept laughing at people and telling them, to go do an impossible act and get out of there.
I just love a good comeback story.
I
think that this is all-American. I think his story is also tragic because I think that the media is the one that really ousted him. He was beloved by the American people, and I don't think, when you look at Watergate now, it was a nothing burger compared to what we face with our government now. So
like laptops.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, and I agree with you there, that he said if he had apologized, then I think it would have all blown over. And that's where the press really started feeling its oats, when the press got this idea, we ran a president out of office. Nobody's nobody's above the law. We keep hearing crap from the Democrats all the time. Nobody's above the law, except Democrats, of course.
Well, who does that sound like? Does not apologize. I mean, it sounds like another familiar person that is up and coming, I believe, in the 2024 election. I believe he's the fan favorite. So.
Yeah, and hits back as harder than he takes.
Yes. So I'm excited to end on that note because I am a big fan of Nixon. And
likewise.
So thanks for tuning in, but we will be back tomorrow with some more on Get Real America.
Get real, stay real.